That sounded weird. Welcome back to Tasha's Heirloom Table. Today, we're making a really special recipe. This recipe is Mimo. I've done a couple of hers in a row, actually, but she's the one I remember the most because she was my grandmother. But this is Mimo's banana cake. And this recipe card is so loved that, look, it's so sad. So I've actually rewritten it, and this is my trusty recipe binder that I will leave behind for my children and grandchildren. But I've rewritten her recipe in here, and then I have a little plastic thing that I've stuck the card in. So my goal is to do that for all of these recipes, especially the ones that we really like, after I make them, and so they have the instructions, kind of what my notes are, and they can go from there. So let's get started with Mimo's banana cake. So our first ingredient is half a cup of butter or shortening. I have never made this with shortening. I always use butter. I prefer to use butter unless recipe just calls for shortening, and sometimes they do because they make better that way. So we're going to put our butter in here, and like normal, I'm going to use my paddle here too. This is softened butter. Okay, so half a cup of butter and 1.5 cups, and maybe I'll use their apron as a towel. Yeah, go through a lot of aprons that way. 1.5 cups of sugar, which is 300 grams of sugar. We're gonna put that in there. And then this one does have instructions, but I kind of know this one by heart, so I'm trying to refer to the card. Cream, sugar, and butter. So we're going to cream these together. When you're creaming sugar and butter for a cake, you're getting a lot of air in that, and it takes a while. So this is going to take me 2 to 3 minutes. So I'll be back. These are creamed, beaten. Now, it would be beaten if you put eggs. These are creamed as well as I would like it to be. Now it tells me to add eggs one at a time. I have already cracked them. They're in this bowl. I did do this a little while ago because I wanted these to get to room temp so that they don't separate my mixture. So sometimes when you're cooking with butter, actually usually, when you're baking with butter, and you put cold ingredients in with the butter, it can separate your batter. So we don't want to do that. So we have our room temp eggs here. I'm going to put them in one at a time and mix. Those are really mixed in. I'll show you what it looks like. Pretty. So we have our butter, sugar, and eggs in here. Now, the next part is multi-step process. So this is why it's really important to read the directions before you start a recipe, because have you ever, and I'm saying this because I have more than once actually, started a recipe and just dumped all of the ingredients in there without following the directions, and then usually it doesn't turn out like it should, and that's fine. Also, I have done it on recipes I made before. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Well, this is what I did wrong. So the next ingredients are 2 cups of flour, which is 240 grams of flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. And I have all of that in this bowl right here. Now, we are going to alternate that adding into this mixture with 3 bananas that are mashed and sprinkled with lemon juice. Let me have a little sidebar on the bananas here. When we have bananas and they are not ready, or they're overly ready to be eaten, but we're not really ready to cook with them, we will mash them and freeze them. And we'll put however many bags we need, or however many bananas we need for a recipe in a bag. We know that this recipe calls for 3 bananas. So I had this in my freezer, ready to roll, and I just had to thaw it out. We put them in there, smash them, and lay them flat so they can stack easily. Now, probably the lemon juice is supposed to help with the discoloration of the bananas after you've mixed it, but we didn't add it when we smashed them, so they are a little brown. But here's our bananas with the lemon juice. So we're going to alternate these 2 mixtures being added, starting with flour and always ending with flour. So I'll do flour, banana, flour, banana, flour, banana, flour. So you kind of have to eyeball what you're adding to make sure that you're ending with your dry ingredients. So let's do that. I usually do that on a pretty low speed because I don't want to overmix the flour, because you don't want to build up too much gluten, because you want your cake to be nice and fluffy and delicious. So I mix that on a very low speed. As soon as the flour looks mostly incorporated, I add the bananas, and then the flour is all the way incorporated. So we're going to move on to the next part of the recipe. The next part is 1/2 cup of buttermilk and a teaspoon of soda. From my buttermilk here, I have learned that I like to use real buttermilk, like the buttermilk that comes from the store in a little gallon, 1/2 gallon or quart that says buttermilk. You can make buttermilk with different mixtures of milk and lemon juice or sour cream and water. And I don't know all the ratios for that, and I have done that for this recipe, but my most successful cakes have always been with real buttermilk. So that's what we're using. Measured this out a little while ago, so it's room temp. I'm gonna go ahead and add my baking soda into the buttermilk, and it is a teaspoon. So baking, try to be very precise with all my measurements, because baking is really a science. I love it, because if you do it the same way every time, it turns out the same way every time. So I'm going to turn the mixer on low and add in the buttermilk. Added that in a slow stream because, again, science, something with mixing it in too fast and it separates. And I'm sure you can go find some kind of book on all the science of that. And I've read it, but I don't remember it. I just know that that's how I do it now. So now, of course, got to add the good stuff. Every recipe from Mimo and her mom and her mother-in-law, lots of vanilla. And Mimo's the one who told me how to measure vanilla. You don't use a teaspoon, and if you do, you over measure it. You just let it flow over the sides. So I just eyeball it. We call it measuring with our hearts, and that's what we're gonna do. I don't know if I told you, but that was a teaspoon of vanilla. Alrighty, now we're ready to bake this. Mimo. When I think of desserts that Mimo made, this is the dessert I remember the most. Probably signified by the use of that card, because like I've said before, she lived with us for a little while. And so she didn't bake a whole lot at that point in her life, but she did bake some. And this was a recipe she made quite often because, as many of you probably use your bananas, your very ripe bananas for banana bread, we use it for banana cake. Has wire bread when you can have cake? Now, we do love banana bread, and I have several banana bread recipes that we use, but this is the go-to. Okay, I'm baking this in a 9x13. So this is the recipe I compared to a lot when I was making that pineapple cake, because the cook time, the cook temp, very similar. Texture of this cake will be different a little bit, but still very light and fluffy. Do you use a cream cheese icing for this? There is not an icing recipe, and actually, it's kind of funny. Mimo used to buy the canned stuff to put on here. Why? Probably because it was easier. And sometimes she didn't even put icing on it. But we all really like icing. It's my favorite. And I have a cream cheese icing that I use, and I'll make that with you here in a little bit. Make sure we get all that cake in here, not on our spatula. All right, there we go. I'm gonna stick this in the oven at 325 for 40 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer for 35 and then give it a check with the toothpick. This is the cake I learned to not open the oven while it's baking, because if you do, you're changing the temperature of your oven and the middle of your cake can fall. So Mimo taught me that, and so we use the oven light a lot to check. I will not open this oven until we're pretty close to the end of the cooking time, and even then, I'll be very gentle about how I open it. I pulled my cake out of the oven at about 35 minutes, so make sure you set that timer a little earlier to check that. And look how beautiful it is. It's come a little bit off of the sides of the pan. It smells so good. Just really pretty. No problem serving this to people. I've already made my cream cheese icing. I used half a stick of butter, half a cube of cream cheese, so 4 ounces of cream cheese, 1/4 cup of butter, and about 80 grams of powdered sugar. A cup of powdered sugar is about 120 grams, so a little over half a cup. Don't like this real sweet. So we're gonna spread it. Look how white that is. It's because of my clear vanilla. I use the same cream cheese recipe to ice my cinnamon rolls. See, and what you're putting on already has a lot of sugar in it, so you don't want it real sweet. Unless you like it real sweet, and then, add as much sugar as you want it. I did let this cake fully cool. If you're in a hurry to get this iced, I usually cool mine on a baking rack so that the air can come underneath as well and help it cool more quickly. You can also stick it in the refrigerator or freezer. I don't prefer that method. I just don't. But, you're in a hurry. So this isn't going to be a real thick icing on here. Just enough to kind of cover it. Scrape a little up on the side there so I can finish. And then, if my kids were home, my son especially, he would ask to lick that Okay, here we go. Does this look like the pineapple cake? A little bit. Definitely banana. Okay. I forgot to grab a plastic knife, so I'm back. This is not a nonstick pan, so I could use the metal knife. However, on cakes, I like to use the plastic knife because I feel like it helps the crumb not get all on top of the cake. Keeps it more of a clean cut. See if we can get this out of this pan without making a big old mess. I feel like that first slice is always the hardest to get out. But pretty good. All right. Let's say, look at that crumb. So yummy. So fluffy. So let's give it a taste. I already know it's gonna be good. It has such a good banana flavor. And it doesn't taste like bread, it does taste like cake. Lots of banana flavor. If you have some bananas that you need to bake with because they're overly ripe, make sure you give Mimo's banana cake a try. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you're alerted each week when a new video drops. And we'll see you next time on Tasha's Heirloom Table.